One. Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning into the Klown Hour podcast. As you can see, we got video. I'm Scott Burks. This is my man, Dwayne Nash here, my co-pilot and sports fan in Christ, as we like to say. You can check him out on all things the Yard HBCU Sports, where on his blog, where he talks about all things HBCU Sports, as well as Sleazy Radio every Tuesday night on Facebook Live. You can check him out on herosports.com as well. So we're going to get into a lot of NBA tonight. And before we get into that, and some NFL as well, I'm going to show you my merch. Yeah? We got merchandise. I'm going to the merch business. So basically, it's on cafepress.com/the Klown Times. That's Klown spelled with K. And it's all one word, no dashes, no hyphens. There it is. And you can find me on Facebook as well. Just go to the search window, type in the Klown Times. Again, it's Klown spelled with K. You'll find me there. Speaking of the Klown Times, that's my sports blog, www.theklowntimes.net. And feel free to subscribe to the blogs. You can get like updates on the blog as far as new posts, the podcast, and everything else. So we're going to get right to it, Dwayne. So basically, first of all, how you doing?
Man, I am wonderful. You know, the weather's starting to get the way that I enjoy it. You know, nice and crisp outside. But outside of that, man, you know, just getting used to I know it's been March, right? I know it's been 9 months, right?
Right.
Still getting used to doing video, even though I do Facebook Lives on a weekly basis.
Yeah.
Using Zoom is still something that, you know, I'm still getting accustomed to. And then I know this being our Apollo mission, I guess.
I'm nervous as hell, man. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm nervous as hell because, you know, like a Murphy's Law applies to my ass every which way possible. I know some shit's gonna go wrong. I know it. I'm not a pessimist, but I'm a pragmatist. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. We'll have it where it be. You see me in my sunroom where I work during the day. So it's all good. It's all good. We'll have some fun. So speaking of fun, NBA draft.
Yes.
We're watching the NBA draft right now. We saw who went first overall. Anthony Edwards out of Georgia went to went to the Timberwolves, the first pick in the draft, followed by James Wiseman, Memphis. I love that pick, by the way, for Golden State. Wiseman could do it all. Too bad the NCAA tried to fuck him over this way. But
of course.
Good for him. But good for him. He's getting paid. He's going to get paid. And he's coming out big time in a great situation in Golden State. So God bless him. What I'm intrigued about is the pick number 3. Lamellar Ball to the Charlotte Hornets. Yes. Now, I joked on Twitter earlier that LeVar Ball's worst nightmare is about to come true. Having him in little ass Charlotte, right, with Michael Jordan, the greatest, one of the greatest of all time. I think my greatest is my goat is Magic Johnson, as I always like to say. But nevertheless, that's going to be interesting. I mean, hell, Charlotte needs the star power. They got the star power in LaMelo. The young man can ball. He has skills. He has talent. I'm just thinking about the LeVar Ball wild card, right? How is he going to play? Is he going to play next to Michael Jordan? And also, will that give us the long-awaited Michael Jordan versus LeVar Ball one-on-one matchup we've been dying to see ever since LeVar ran off his damn mouth a few years ago when they drafted when Lonzo was drafted by the LA Lakers.
Yes. Well, to answer the latter question, my God, I hope so. And I'm praying that Mike instigates that entire situation.
Oh, you know he is.
I want Mike to keep coming at LeVar as hard and as often as possible to get this thing going, to hopefully televise it or record it, put it on YouTube, put it on social media. I don't care how we get the chance to see it. I just wanted to see the embarrassment happen. To answer the other question, part of the question, as it pertains to what I'm calling LaMelo, because it is LaMelo.
Yeah.
As it pertains to LaMelo, I keep mixing LaMelo
and Lonzo
and LiAngelo together.
Oh, LiAngelo, yeah.
But unfortunately, of course, LiAngelo is the one that's in the D League.
Right.
LaMelo hopefully he's learned from his older brother.
Right.
And hopefully he's learned to respectfully tell his dad, "Hey, allow me to handle this.
Right.
No, I can't deal with your interference the way that it started off with
Lonzo.
with Lonzo in the beginning."
Right.
So if we can go ahead, if he can go ahead and do that, that'll be wonderful. And it's a possibility that being in a smaller market helps out, because along with Melo not wanting to be, but along with Melo being more independent over the past season, being in New Orleans, we haven't heard anything from LeVar. So my hope is that the small market, along with being independent, is a byproduct of that.
You know what? Being in New Orleans, talking about Lonzo now, being in New Orleans is a blessing in disguise for that young brother. I mean, he started coming to his own. He's a new dad, new-ish now dad. And you saw that, I think you saw that clip, right, when he and LeVar were kind of going at it verbally, and on the reality show, which was kind of a sad moment, to be honest with you. Lonzo sat back, all right. He's like, okay. He had that look on his face like, you want to tell Pops to shut the fuck up and go somewhere, but he couldn't say it.
Of course.
He had that look on his face. We all had that. I had that look with my pops. I'm sure you had that look with your mom and pops.
I just had it Sunday.
Oh, and you're allowed to tell about it. So there you go.
But it was done in a peaceful manner.
Okay.
So, yeah. It was just a minor dispute over football. But
well, yeah. Okay, it's just not personal then. Okay, gotcha. But that was a real moment right there. So hopefully, I don't think LeVar is going to do it because LeVar is LeVar. I think it's going to run from his mouth. I think it's going to just go to Time Warner, Spectrum Center, or wherever the hell Charlotte's playing these days, what they call the arena. It was Time Warner. I think that's Spectrum Center. But the thing is that you figure he learned from Lonzo.
Yeah.
Right? Lonzo's now just starting to get himself together. He started to play better before COVID happened. And in the bubble, he didn't have a good bubble. I mean, not many people had a good bubble outside the Lakers and a few other teams anyway. But the point is that he actually did his thing, was doing his thing, and I think he's going to get better. He corrected the shooting motion from over here, right, to like doing it like this. He did that well, and he's distributing the ball well. And again, he's out of LA.
Yes.
He's out of his pop's shadow. He's out of the expectations. He's doing him, which is great to see. So hopefully he keeps doing that. And I think, but I do love this LaMelo kid. Again, he has skills. He's the best of the drump. I mean, his dad said himself, I'll give LeVar credit for this. He said LaMelo was the best of the bunch. He did say that. You know what I'm saying? He did say that. And we're watching this kid's like tape, what he did in Australian League. See, it's not what he did, obviously, in high school. It's not what he did in Lithuania. It's what he did in the Australian League. The Australian League was said to be the more advanced, more physical leagues out there. He playing with grown-ass men. And he held his own. I mean, he averaged over double digits. Like, he averaged, 17? And, 7 rebounds, 7 assists.
It was
those damn good numbers.
Yes.
Yeah, those damn good numbers for an 18-year-old kid.
18-year-old kid who eventually was named the 2020 Rookie of the Year in that league.
Yes.
He played extremely well. And I just heard a report last night that Andrew Bogut, former number 1 overall pick, former NBA champion with the Golden State Warriors, said that he is already an elite pro passer as of right now. And that speaks volumes based upon the guys that Andrew has already played with, especially if you think about the guys that have played at Golden State. So if you have that type of passing ability, you get to Charlotte, who is starving for star power ever since Kemba left. So he has an opportunity just to step in and be that star for that organization. The key is, how will he and that very young organization be able to mature while they're playing together?
Yes, and that's the thing. So I like this. Again, I like this pick for Charlotte. I mean, Michael Jordan actually got one right for a change, it looks like, because he's one of the more talented players in the draft. Not the most talented player in the draft. So we'll see how that goes. And the good news is That team, as wretched as the Hornets are, they do have talent. They got that kid from Michigan State. I forget that brother's name, but who had a pretty good last 2 years in the league. So it has them to go on that. They're devoid of knuckleheads from what I could see from afar, and they got a decent coach who's from the Popovich tree. So again, starting with a blank slate, Charlotte's going the right direction. They actually made a pretty damn good pick for a change. Congrats to you, Michael Jordan, for not screwing this shit up. So we'll see.
Well, it's time will tell, right? Because we don't know. A lot of people like, of course, the talent from 1 through 3.
Right.
A couple of the international players. But as of right now, we really don't know how they're going to pan out in the league. They didn't necessarily. Well, they didn't have a what's the camp that they normally have, and the workout camp that they have in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're not going to have necessarily a preseason. They're not going to have a summer league to participate in. So they're really going to be thrown right into the fire with the league starting in about a month. So the thing is, wondering who will be able to adjust,
right,
and who will be able to deal with their first year adjustment going into season 2. So that's going to be very interesting to see what happens with this bunch, being that this is a situation that we're not used to.
Right, and that's the thing. So we'll see. But getting on to our teams, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Your beloved, I'm still going to call them the Bullets, damn it. Your beloved Washington Bullets and my moribund, yet beloved New York Knicks. So let's start with let's start with your Wizards. I call them the Wizards. So let's start with the Wizards. Y'all drafted a kid out of Israel.
Yes.
Small forward. So what are your thoughts on him, right quick?
You know what? Oddly enough, before the draft started, and then I'll go ahead and I'll confess,
okay.
I was out of the loop with a lot of the guys going into this year's draft. I will say, of course, with my HBCU coverage, I normally don't get a chance to watch your guys from the larger programs and the other mid-majors
right
until the NCAA tournaments or until their respective conference tournaments. So since we didn't have that, I was really lost in the sauce. And then it didn't really help because, of course, the first 3 guys taken wouldn't have participated in the tournament anyway. So right. I really would have been out of the loop with these 3 guys outside of what I heard about them throughout the media and a little bit of highlight film that I've seen of them. But like I said, going into tonight's draft, there was a brief discussion on international players. And when they talked about this guy, his name is God, wow. That V and that D together is going to kill me for about a couple of months.
Excuse me.
Avdija. Avdija.
I ain't going to try to pronounce his name. I'm not going to risk fucking it up even more, so I'm not going to disrespect him.
Yes,
I'll call him D Nice.
So all the fans out there who are laughing at me with this dude's pronunciation, being that I didn't get a chance to hear his name pronounced during the draft, I'm going to go ahead and go with Avdija, and I'm hoping that is correct. But yes, Denny Avdija, he's 6'9", 215. They're saying he could play the 4, which would be wonderful because we need a big that can run the floor and be able to attack the rim. And they're saying that this guy is capable of doing that. He's a power forward, and they say he has the playmaking ability of a point guard. This says here, and I'm just reading verbatim what the things are. And he's best operating out of the pick and roll, where he's displaying excellent timing and vision. So this would be fantastic to see whether or not he'll be able to go up tempo with John Wall. And I know there's a lot of questions with John Wall right now, whether or not he's going to be 100% or not, or whether or not he's going to be with the team or not. But I doubt very seriously right now that they're going to trade him, because I know that one of the assets that the Rockets wanted was that number 9 pick. Right. But it's going to be very interesting to see with this very youthful team that they have. One of the things that they did like to do last year, and something they'll probably continue to do this coming year, is run up and down the floor. Hopefully they're able to sign Dallas Bertans back so they can go ahead and keep him as an outside threat. And if they can do this, there'll be a nice young team that'll probably compete something for that 6, 7, 4, 8 spot in the Eastern Conference. And that's about as best as they can get as of right now. Because I'm still saying that the East is on lock from 1 to 5, whatever order you want to put it in, with the Bucks, the Nets, the Celtics, the Raptors, and the Heat. I don't care how you put that 5. That's 5 right there, automatic. Number 6 becomes a little bit of a question. And God, who was that? Orlando played well last year. Who else made it?
I mean, Indiana did okay. I don't know. They're like they fired my man Nick McMillan, fellow Woodpecker, Nate McMillan. I don't understand that. But anyway, there's Indiana, right? And who else?
Exactly. So
Philadelphia, maybe. I don't know if they ever played their way.
I forgot about the Sixers. So the Wizards will be competing for the 7 or 8 spot. 1 through 6 is already a lot. 7, depending upon, because I don't really know who the Indiana Pacers have hired as their new head coach. You might know better than I do.
I think they hired the former top assistant out of Toronto. I think they hired his ass. They hired him. Nick Nurse's former guy. I forget his name. But anyway, they hired him.
So it depends upon how they are capable of adjusting to his style of play. And once again, a very short preseason, if any, and you only got a month, so they got to learn quick. So and we only have 72 games. I shouldn't say only, because it's only 8 less than the regular schedule. So that we have 72 games. They're jumping right into it. Depends upon how quickly they're able to adjust and see how they compete as well. But you start getting into that 6, 7, 8 spot. You're looking at, like I said before, Philadelphia, Indiana, Orlando, Charlotte, Washington. You're looking at those guys right there that are Detroit, that are going to be battling for those last 2 spots. And it's going to be very interesting to see what happens if they're capable of doing just that. But I really don't expect much out of the Wizards in 2021. My hope is that they make it to the playoffs. That's a hope. That's a real strong hope. But I completely understand that they're still going through a rebuilding stage. And I know that it's going to be very hard for them to attract free agents to come here in DC unless this team right here, what they currently have, can prove that they can play.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on, before I move to my Knicks, what are your thoughts on that Japanese brother from Gonzaga?
Rui Hachimura.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on him from last season?
I like Rui. I got a chance to watch him a couple of times. I actually got a chance to see him live in a loss, unfortunately. But
Well, I was a Knicks fan, but go ahead.
Oh, man, I don't even want to relive that game because they were actually up all 3 quarters to the Bulls and ended up, actually to the Cavs, and lost that game late. But I digress. Rui looked real well. I'm glad that he was one of the guys that I would say it helped not having John Wall and not having Bradley Beal go into the bubble, because it got an opportunity for those young guys
to develop
to be the focal point and develop in those 8 games.
Right.
I think they may have only won 1, but
they got a chance.
But they got a chance to go, and they got a chance to play, and they got a chance to learn in this system in real time. Playing against real bullets. Smith, the power forward that they have, who's probably going to end up sharing minutes with your boy Denny over here from Israel. So it's going to be real interesting to see exactly what they do, what this very young team does coming up. But to answer your question, Rui, I like him, which is why I think they're going to end up moving him to the small forward spot and have him starting there, or probably switch it up where they have Denny playing the small and Rui playing the 4, depending upon who's the smaller of the 2.
Right.
Or it could be a situation where they just end up being positionless players, and just having them 2 out there at the forward spots, being able to play with their back to the basket and being able to stretch the floor as well. So I want to see how Rui plays. This whole international connection they got with Denny and Rui playing in the front court.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Um, I'll get to your Wizards momentarily when we talk about other potential personnel moves in this hot stove league that's going on. Going to my Knicks, Obi Toppin. I seen this kid play at Dayton. Kid's a baller. He's a damn baller. I mean, he dunking on cats in game, like in between the legs. He's the ultimate late bloomer. He didn't have any D1 offers coming out of high school, so he enrolled at a preparatory academy and got offers there, albeit from mostly call them group of 5 programs or what you call those, not minor programs, but
mid-majors.
Mid-majors. Largely mid-majors. Rhode Island, he got offered from Rhode Island. I think he got offered from Georgia. But nevertheless, he chose to go to Dayton. And one of the casualties and the shame of last year's tournament, due to that damn, like a cousin, like an in-law calls it, the damn demic, we lost the NCAA tournament. So if everything played out from what I read, Dayton would have been a top seed. It wouldn't have been the overall number 1 seed, but it would have been a 1 seed. Wow. And that would have given us opportunity to see this kid ball at a high level against high competition. I thought that they would have gotten far. I don't know how far they would have gotten per se, because they played Kansas during the year. They played a few other good elite squads, but then Atlanta is a damn good league. I'm not bashing on the Atlanta team when it comes to basketball. They got a damn good basketball league. Yeah. It's just not the ACC. I mean, what is the ACC? Who else is in the ACC or the Big East? But anyway, the point is, but the point is he balled out. Dayton balled out last year. I think they only lost 1 or 2 games all season. And, they're on their way to a top seed in the tournament. And COVID happened. So anyway, the point is that Obi played well. He was graded higher than the 8th spot that he was drafted at. Now, I would have loved to see him draft a point guard, to balance out that R.J. Barrett kid in the backcourt from Duke. Yeah. And we have a surplus of bigs right now, like Mitchell Robinson can really ball. I like him a lot. But if you see talent, you can't pass up talent.
No.
You cannot pass up talent. And Obi, this kid is it. And he's a Brooklyn guy too. So I love that as well. He's a hometown kid. Even though the Nets are in Brooklyn, but I still call him New Jersey. I'm sorry. Judge me, sue me. I've known him for New Jersey Nets for all up until 3 or 4 years ago. So whatever. But the point is that I really love this pick. What are your thoughts on how the Knicks did? And do you see the light in the tunnel with the addition of Tom Thibodeau as coach as well?
Yeah, and of course, Thibodeau, hopefully he can come in and work that magic that he's had in other places in New York. Obi Toppin was another one of those guys. That was one of the things I was hoping for my Wizards, was hoping that a big would fall to them. There was a lot of talk that, they would take a point guard, most notably the point guard out of Florida State. Yeah. But my thought was that they needed a big to protect the rim. Right. Or at least be, a high mortar big that can attack the rim and potentially stretch the floor. And from what I was hearing, Obi Toppin was one of those guys that could most definitely attack the rim and has that mid-range jump shot as well. So I was hoping that Toppin would fall down to 9, but I heard that he was going at around 6 or 7. For him to drop down to 8 to the Knicks could just be a huge pickup for them. And that's something that, of course, this organization is used to, having quality bigs there. Hopefully, Tobin could be one of those guys, another one of those guys.
I'm hoping too. So, look, I've been to the song and dance. 7 straight years I'm making the playoffs. We have our last really good team. I'm looking at it right now. Probably in the early 2000s when we had both Melo and Stoudemire. Yeah. When we made that run to the second round, we lost to Indiana. Yeah. And that came this close to advance to the East Conference Finals to play the Miami Heat with LeBron and them.
Yeah.
That was a long ass time ago.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, I'm just waiting, and I'm like sad. My moniker on some social media pages are sad Knicks fan, because I've been sad for the better part of the last 10 plus years. But hey, you know, you can't go anywhere else but up. Okay, we finally got a coach that's worth a damn. We finally got stooges out of the front office for the most part. Okay, James Dolan is still our owner, but at least you got to come to people. You got Rose, this Rose Cat, who is known around circles, CAA, with the likes of Worldwide West. He's associated with him. If you don't, for those of you who don't know who Worldwide West is, Google. You'll thank me later. The point is that you got him. Of course, you got the aforementioned Thibodeau in there to really put a fire underneath these kids and get the most out of them. And so as long as Dolan doesn't do anything, doesn't go Dame Dolan and just stays the hell out of the way, long as those stooges in the front office who surrounded Rose don't get in the way like they did with David Fizdale, I think that there'll be we're not expecting them to do anything that's worth a damn this year. But it's all about getting better. It's all about developing and make the Knicks attractive to free agents again. That's all I ask at this point. Because it is what it is. Again, I'm a pragmatist. It is what it is right now. So you got to start from somewhere. Just let it be. You just start with this damn good draft pick with Toppin, and let go over there. And one more thing before I turn it back over to you. You know that his dad was a street ball legend, right? Also named Obadiah. That's his full name, Obadiah. He was known as Dunkel's Delight on the street ball circuit in New York.
Had no idea.
They showed his pops beside I think it's his mom, and his pops looks great. His pops still looks spry. He looks great. He's in good shape. So it's all about the genetics. So hey, maybe there's maybe it's a sign in the air. Maybe it's a sign in the air that says, hey, there's hope. Who knows?
I will say this. I should have kept watching the interview that I saw earlier today with Tobin, Wiseman, and Anthony Edwards that they did with street ball legend Bone Collector. That was on hoopshype.com that I saw earlier today. And they got to asking them a question about who was their favorite street ball player. Edwards got a chance to answer, and he said a guy that plays out of Atlanta. I think he said his name was Little D. And I stopped the video at that moment. My guess is that Tobin's answer was going to be his dad.
His dad, yeah.
That's my guess. But it would have been very interesting to hear him talk about his dad because, you know, unfortunately, I'm just not familiar.
Right.
But to your point earlier about, you know, the Knicks and developing young talent, one of the and actually potentially attracting free agents to come there, you know already they have this battle with that in-town rival. I understand that you refer to them as the New Jersey Nets.
Yes.
But they have become New York's team. To everybody that is not a Knicks fan. Everybody that's not a Knicks fan, the Brooklyn Nets are New York's team. And as of right now, I mean, they're going to be grabbing the headlines because you got who you got there, and we already know what type of malcontents they both can be if things don't go well. And Kevin Durant.
Basket cases, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God, yeah.
Basket cases, especially Kyrie.
Oh, yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. They got a lot of talent. I forgot about Brooklyn. No. I said Brooklyn was in that mix. Okay, I'm lunching. Yeah. So, you know, they had that young core that played well in the playoffs without talent there, and you know, and you can go ahead and just imagine what that team would be like with Kyrie and with KD. The thing is, though, it's going to be an issue. Then I've heard about it earlier today, is that Kyrie has already questioned the leadership of one Steve Nash already. So I'm like, come on, man. You I understand that they
don't need to be coached.
Yeah, if you think so, right? But I understand, and I also understand that they have an elite group of assistants there that have more experience than Steve.
D'Antoni's there. That's going to be huge.
Exactly, right? So it's just going to be very interesting to see how they deal with that going into the season, well, going throughout the season, especially as it pertains to what happens with them in the playoffs and how they handle things. Because if that's an issue before the season starts, I can only imagine what type of situation that could potentially come.
I'm hoping for an implosion.
End up losing back-to-back games.
I'm hoping for a damn implosion because I have a quick story here. I have a neighbor down the street this way. He's a Bostonian.
Okay.
So we're watching. We had like COVID NBA game watch parties out my front yard. All right, during the bubble. So we were talking. Me, him. His name is Patrick. Patrick, myself, and a couple other cats. And you should see the look on Patrick's face when someone brought the name Kyrie Irving. And one time he voluntarily submitted it and wanted to get off his chest how mad he still is. As a matter of fact, his 2 words, I'm quoting him every time. I swear to God, when his name comes up, fuck Kyrie. That's Patrick's. Patrick says he's speaking on behalf of the majority of Bostonian sports fans. And he says, fuck Kyrie. It's real. They hate Kyrie Irving. They're glad his ass is gone. They're laughing at Brooklyn as we speak, especially after they heard that coach's comment. He ain't with us anymore. He's your damn problem. He's y'all's problem. Yo. And, I'm going to get back to his ass in a minute, but one last thing before we close this draft segment. Anthony Edwards, we didn't mention him. He went first overall to the Timberwolves, who for some reason likes to draft first for some reason. But anyway, I don't know if you heard about this interview when he talked about not really loving basketball.
I heard about it.
You heard about that?
That's scary
for a top of our pick. That's scary.
It's beyond scary.
Yeah.
To hear a guy say, if the NFL came a calling, I'm dropping everything and I'm going.
Yes. He's a top overall pick.
And he's a top overall pick.
Only played 1 year at Georgia. Didn't shoot well from the field. I didn't really see him much at Georgia. Georgia sucked, but still, he balled out in Georgia. God bless him. He balled out in Georgia. But still, you want your top overall pick to love the game. You want him to love it.
Yes.
Breathe it.
I just thought that was very interesting
with it.
For him to come out and not just say that.
Yeah.
But to make that statement the day before the draft.
Yes.
Who does that?
He's like, bruh. You don't do that, man. Come on. I mean, he's 18. Look, I could throw every excuse out in the world. He's 18, 19 years old. But still, I mean, I'm like, damn.
You want to talk about dodging a major bullet?
Yeah.
He dodged a major bullet because he risked millions by saying that one statement. Because all it would have taken was for one team to pass, for the T-Wolves to pass on him, and people to scratch their. Well, no, I don't think people would have scratched their head because if they would have went Wiseman, that would have been weird because they just probably would have put Wiseman at the 4, or if they would have taken Lamellar or whatever. But had he dropped past 4, people would have scratched their heads, and you would have had no other choice but to wonder whether or not that statement, would have played a role in him dropping. But Minnesota's taking their chance. They must be highly convinced that the NFL is not going to come calling. I will say this: if the Minnesota Vikings lose Kyle Rudolph, and they decide that they want to go ahead and call your boy Edwards up to play tight end, there's a huge possibility that dude might just say, you know what, peace. Yeah. But, I'm just being ignorant right now. But I'm just like, yo, you can't make that type of statement. Can you imagine if you're a hiring manager and you hear someone say on the phone outside, that's right before they come to interview with you, you know what? This job is cool, but I really want to be in a circus. So if the circus give me a call sometime, man, I don't know, I might go ahead and just dump this job.
Man. Oh,
Would you take them seriously? I mean, I shouldn't call the NFL a circus, but
right.
I'm just saying, I don't think I would really take this dude serious because he's already telling you he has a potential foot out of the door if given the opportunity. But hey, I hope it works. I hope it works for the Minnesota Timberwolves. I really do because, like I said before, this dude really dodged the bullet. He really dodged the bullet by when he said that statement.
Yeah. And I lied to you when I said one last thing. Cole Anthony just got drafted by the Orlando Magic, and they showed a picture of a video of him and his dad, Greg Anthony, who we all remember from UNLV and the Knicks years.
Oh, of course.
Love him at UNLV. Love him I love him, period, because he's a Knick for life. I had this fantasy of Cole Anthony somehow dropping to number 23, where because the Knicks have two first rounders, right? Yeah. So they got they had the 8th pick and the 23rd pick. Mm-hmm. So I was hoping for this, I had this silly fantasy of him slipping all the way down to 23. Obviously that wasn't going to happen, and it didn't happen. So Orlando got a good guy. I saw him play at Carolina. He's a good player. He was hurt most of the year. I was sad for him that he got hurt. But I'm happy for him, happy for his family, happy for Grad to have the seed about to be in the league too. So all good stuff right there, all good stuff right there. Moving from the draft to free agency and the hot stove leave, that's the NBA. With all these people wanting out. I mean, you have like Russell Westbrook run out of Houston. Houston's it's like ground zero for people wanting the hell out. Yeah. First, he's got Russell Westbrook. Now James Harden wants out because apparently they didn't run shit by them both when they let go of didn't bring that Mike D'Antoni, and then let the analytics dude Morey go to Philadelphia. Yeah. Okay. And there's also word out that the owner, who is the like founder and head of the bunch of restaurant chains, Fertitta, I think his last name is. Okay. He's an ardent Trump supporter. Yeah. Who donated a lot of shit to the campaign. A lot of that shit didn't sit well with neither those two guys nor the non-stars on the team. So a lot of cats are wanting out. And so it's a tricky situation there. But let's start with Russell Westbrook. I wrote a silly-ass rant on my sports blog that I think the Knicks would be perfect to get him. Mm-hmm. And it's amplified further that they didn't draft the point guard tonight, especially that kid of Iowa State, which I thought they were going to draft at first. He's a great point guard. Halliburton, yes. Yeah, his last name is. So point is that, I don't know how much rush will be to get him, being that he's still under contract. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if they had to give too much up for him, I wouldn't do it. But outside of that, if they have to give up too much for him, I think that he would be good in the Knicks uniform. He'll be box office. He has a lot of young talent. He'll have a lot of young talent around him. Imagine him running the pick and roll with a Topin. Mm-hmm. Would be very nice, and he'll probably help the development of RJ Barrett as well, take the pressure off of him. So who do you think's the best fit for Russell Westbrook at this point?
Wow, at this point, dude, I really don't know. I really don't know. Because the last time we saw Russell Westbrook, at least in a successful situation, or the most successful situation we've seen him in, was when he was playing with KD in Oklahoma City, right? So that means he would have to be in a situation where he's capable of getting a big that can help stretch the floor for him while he's attacking the basket, because when you have two guys and also a guy who does not demand the ball right in his hands as much as Westbrook does, right? So it's going to be very interesting to see exactly who goes after him now and what they're willing to give up. Now, like I told you before, one of the bigger potential draft situations that came up was sending Westbrook here to DC for John Wall and some other assets. So my guess is it's going to have to be something to that caliber, if not more, to snatch Westbrook out of the hands of Houston. Right. Because you have to look at it like this. You got to look and see what the Pelicans got for Drew Holiday.
Yeah. That was a good trade. That was a good trade for Milwaukee.
It was. The thing is, though, like, and it depends on who you are, right? Because I'm in the book. I like depth, and I like young depth, especially if we can continue to develop it and get this team together and get them to play as a team, right?
Right. Yeah.
But I also understand that you win with stars in the NBA.
You gotta win with stars,
man. And
you gotta win with stars, man.
That's one of the things. Yeah, that's one of the things that the Milwaukee Bucks has sacrificed. They sacrificed their depth by sending Ilyasova, Hill, and Bledsoe out of Milwaukee to bring in the likes of Drew Holiday. So you got Holiday, you got what's your boy's name? Let me go ahead and get this right. So yeah, matter of fact, Bogdanovich out of Sacramento. So you got Holiday, you got Bogdanovich, you got Middleton, Giannis, and the Lopez brother as your starting five.
Yep.
And that's a talented starting five. The thing is, or the question is going to be, how many minutes are they going to have to play in order for them to be successful this upcoming season? And will they be able to handle that type of load throughout the entire year? I mean, they're young guys, but, you know, barring injury, you know, how well will this team be? Right. Especially competing in this East, which, like I said before, it's top heavy. And God, you're going to need every game in order to end up having one of the top 4 seeds.
Your crystal ball. Who do you see? What do you see Westbrook at the end of the day? What do you see him?
Houston.
Yeah.
Houston.
They don't have to move him. They don't have to move him. They got 2 more years on the contract. They don't have to move shit.
They don't have to move him. They're actually hesitant on moving him.
Yeah.
Unless they get their price. They're not going to get rid of either Westbrook or Harden cheap.
No, I wouldn't either.
Yeah, and I really thought that it was pricey for Wall and the number 9 pick for Westbrook, because once again, this team needs as much talent on this team as possible.
Right.
Especially young talent and young and small contracts to bring in here to play, and to have Westbrook and be without a 9th pick would have been just like having John Wall here, a slightly better John Wall that doesn't have as good of a jump shot. And John Wall does not have a great jump shot.
No.
But he'll tell you he's been working on it, so we'll see how that works out.
He's always been working on it. He always says he's been working on it.
He's always been working on it.
Now, speaking of John Wall, there was talk about the Wizards. I'm going to get your thoughts on this. The Wizards trade him straight up for Westbrook. They got the same identical years on their contracts, the same dollar amount left on their contracts. A straight up trade for those two. What are your thoughts on that?
You know what? If it was straight up, I probably would have taken it. And the reason why I would have taken it is because Westbrook is healthy and was not.
Right.
And, you know, the people are saying that he's looking good. He's practicing well, but we haven't seen him in gameplay yet. So I still don't understand. But then I still don't understand how good he's going to look playing at NBA speed. Plus, there's already been discussion about minutes limitations for him. So when you hear that, that's a red flag for me as well, which leads me for concern. So if that was going to be the situation, pull the trigger, player. But all of the other reports that I saw said that Houston was looking for additional compensation, which is why I'm like, nah, that's all right. I'll stick with what I got and see if that works. And if it doesn't work, then, you know, when that contract comes up, we can go elsewhere.
Right.
But I don't know whether or not a team is going to be willing to give up a bunch of pieces. But we were talking about free agency. I don't know if you've seen, but there have been several deals that have been made already tonight where a lot of guys have already traded places.
Trevor Reeves got traded like 15 times already.
That's what I'm like, yo.
What's he doing? What are you doing with him?
There was talk that Trevor Reeves was going to go to what was it? Where was Covington last? Covington was in Minnesota.
Minnesota, yeah.
Yeah, so there was talk that he was going to Minnesota.
Yeah.
Now he's going to the Pistons.
Yeah. He went to Houston for a little bit.
He's in Houston. Like, yo, oh my God, Trevor Reese, I swear for Jesus, man. Well, you know, he's a vet. He can play defense.
Right.
He can stretch the floor. He's not as great as he used to be, but he still can get you a couple of buckets when needed coming off the bench. But yeah, back to the whole Westbrook thing. I don't see anyone right now giving up what Houston wants, and Houston, I guess, is content to deal with it. Same thing with Harden. With Harden.
Yeah. I don't see him going anywhere. The more I think about it, the more I was like, he's going to stay his ass in Houston. He has 3 more years left on this deal.
Yeah.
All right. We've seen cats like Paul George get out his deal when he just signed this free agent deal. It's like, yeah, I'm glad to be in OKC. Then next time I turn around and say, nah, I'm going to the Clippers. I want out of here. Give me to the Clippers so I can ball with Kawhi Leonard. But to see, okay, first, Harden really wants to get to Brooklyn. Yeah. He really wants to ball with his boy. He wants to go with Brooklyn. He really wants to ball with his boy, KD. Mm-hmm. I don't know how Kyrie feels about that because his ass is going to be the third wheel.
Yeah.
And Kyrie is the third wheel. If you think he's crazy now, bruh, you ain't see crazy yet. That'll be the most combustive chemistry experiment in NBA history. I want to see it because I want Brooklyn to implode. Sure, they're in the borough of my birth, of my youth, of my mom's youth. But damn it, it's a Knicks town. I don't give a damn what anyone else says. Any New Yorker will tell you that New York is a Knicks town. It's not the Nets town. Brooklyn is a Knicks town. I'm sorry. But anyway, I got to get off my chest. But the point is, Houston wants – look, to see how much Anthony Davis got, and to see how much conversation was used to acquire Drew Holiday, what do you think that James Harden is going to command? What do you think the conversation is going to be, James? I mean, Brooklyn has the best package on paper. They're going to get the whole depth to get him, right? Dinwiddie, Karis LeVert, a couple other cats who played well in the bubble. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't gut my death for him, right? But it's out there. That's the best offer on paper. I don't think Brooklyn wants to do that. So,
you know what? It goes back to that conversation that I just brought up.
Yeah.
It depends upon what that GM believes. And there are a lot of people that believe if you got the talent, forget the depth. We'll deal with depth later. We'll end up getting guys on the street to go ahead and fill up
a bunch of 10-day contracts.
But we go ahead and we lead with our stars.
Yeah.
But that also has to mean that GM has to believe that Harden, Irvin, and KD is enough not only to compete and win in the East, but to compete against the likes of LeBron, AD, and Schroeder and the Lakers, Kyrie and Paul George and whatever they bring in with the Clippers, and everybody else on the West Coast. So if that's what they believe, I say do it.
Right.
Even though it's against my morals of basketball, but you know, if that's what they believe, they're going to do it, and it'll be very interesting to see what they do. But the thing is, the media scrutiny that organization is going to face.
Yeah.
KD has never been in a situation to deal with that.
Oh, he's going to be eaten alive. If he had a hard time at OKC and San Francisco with the Warriors and Oakland, man, he ain't ready. He's not ready. Again, this is going to be fascinating for me to see.
Yes.
Probably funny as hell for me to see.
It's going to be must-see TV to see how that organization over there has to deal with it.
Right.
But KD has issues with it. Kyrie, he got a little taste of it in Boston.
Yeah.
Boston media ain't New York media. No, he's going to have to deal with that too. Mm-hmm. And Harden ain't never had to deal with that type of media scrutiny either.
Houston, come on now.
Houston and Oklahoma City?
Yeah. Nah.
Come on, son.
Yeah, he don't know.
Come on, son. So I'm already feeling for the two guys that are already there.
Yeah.
Then you add in the piece of Kevin Harden, and they don't succeed.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Then you start seeing Bama's on the Brooklyn Bridge. I'm hoping they're not trying to do hard on themselves, because it's not going to be nice dealing with that, with everything that's going to be said about them. KD had he had fake accounts on social media to clap back at people that had negative things to say about him. I can only imagine how this season is going to go. I can only imagine how the season is going to go if they lose back-to-back games.
Yeah,
oh my God,
it's
dude.
about to be a bona fide shit show in Brooklyn. I mean, and plus,
God.
remember, Kyrie said that they don't need a coach. They can have collaborative coaching. And it's the same dude who said that the world is flat. So that's you know what? As mad as I disappointed was that my Knicks didn't get neither KD nor Kyrie, I'm like, thank fucking goodness. Thank God we didn't get those two. They're basket cases, man. Man, yo. Brooklyn, tag your asses are it. We're building over here with draft picks and doing it the right way. But y'all can have all the fun. You can have the back page. If your ass underachieves, if they underachieve, which I think they will this year, which I think they will.
Hey,
who knows?
They're gonna have that back page to themselves.
Yeah, they can have it.
The Knicks fans are already accustomed to the Knicks nicking.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not gonna be as fun of a circus.
Right.
As the Brooklyn Nets are going to be. They're going to be good.
Right.
But with that good comes that show.
Right.
And whether or not they're going to be able to handle it is the second thing that I'm going to have to watch coming in Brooklyn. Because, I mean, it's already written. It's already starting to write itself.
Right.
It's already starting to write itself.
True that. Let's close this NBA segment of the show with this. I don't know if you heard about this, brother, but the NBA, they're going to have some changes to the schedule this coming season.
Okay.
The panel is going to be released in 2 stages. I just came across my quote unquote desk last night. Basically, they're going to have 2 halves. Okay. They're going to the first half of the season, which will run from December 22nd, which is the start of the season now, to March 4th. Also, there's going to be a play-in tournament at the end of the second half, right? And the season's going to be 72 games long, which is good. 82 games is too damn long. I hope they stick with 72 games or a little bit less going forward. But they're going to have a play-in tournament from May 18th to the 21st before the playoffs tip off the following day, May 22nd. And what that means is that I'm trying to go down. Okay, it's going to be two sets of games, right? The 7-8 game and the 9-10 game. Okay, the 7-8 game will be between teams ranked 7th and 8th in the conference.
Okay. While
the 9-10 game will feature teams ranked 9th and 10th. So what happened is that the winner of the 7-8 game will advance to the playoffs. The loser will host the winner of the 9-10 game, right? So it's going to be interesting. So basically, whoever wins the 7-8 game, they're in like Flint. And if whoever loses the 7-8 game, they have to fight it out with the winner of the 9-10 game to get in. Which I think that would be interesting because it'll make it a little bit more interesting, a little bit more exciting. Right, even though those teams the team who finished 8th to go to the playoffs will have the dubious right of getting their asses kicked in the first round by whoever the top seed is. Same with the 7th seed with the 2 seed.
Yeah.
But anyway, I thought it was very inventive. I thought that the NBA is they're doing a good job of using what worked in the bubble that made it a little bit exciting and implementing that. We both said this, and I said this with my other NBA cats as well, Kevin McHugh and Jared Singleton. Shouts out to them. That we all said to a man, we were like, they should use this playing game going forward because it was pretty damn exciting. People tuned in. People cared. So kudos to Adam Silver. He's probably the best commissioner in the sports business. I don't care what anyone says. And I'm an NFL guy, so he's better than Roger Goodell. But the point is that
Easily.
I like the forward thinking of the NBA in this. 82 games is always too damn long. 72 games, showing the 72 games is a great start. I think they should be around maybe 65 or maybe 70 at the most. Right? Well, 65 isn't even. Maybe 66 or 60 games to 70. But 72 is a great compromise.
Okay.
So this would be exciting. And as long as if they keep doing it this way, and if it works, so I think it will work. If they do this going forward, generate more interest. That's great, in my opinion.
I'll rebut that with this.
Okay.
So of course, unfortunately, the purists are going to complain
because
we already have a situation where half the league was already getting to the playoffs when you had the 8 seeds both in the East and West.
Right.
Now you have a situation when you're adding an additional 2 more teams into that equation.
Right.
Now, the negative of that, of course, is now you have 20 out of 30 teams making it into your playoffs. That means 5 teams from each conference will not be. And people are questioning, oh my God, is that a real playoff situation? Oh my God, is it really worth it? But the thing is, you open it up to make it more competitive for 2 more markets to go ahead and continue to watch. And I'll say that it's smart, especially in these days, being that you lost the revenue that you lost with those last 8 games and the playoffs of 2020.
Right.
And then whatever revenue that you're going to lose in 2021, you'll regain that with the additional playoff revenue, I guess.
Right.
If that's capable. I don't know what the business model is going to be for that, but if you're able to get an increase on playoff revenue somehow, some way, or if they're able to open it up for fans to come in and make a little bit of money on attendance dollars that way, because I know we're not going to be able to have full arenas come May, or May, June.
No, this shit's going to go on deep into next year. This COVID-19 is going to go on deep into next year.
I hope that it doesn't. I'm praying that it doesn't.
Yeah.
You know, reports have come out today. I forget what pharmaceutical company has a vaccine that's currently
Pfizer, I think.
That's 95% effective. The thing is, of course, is going to be whether or not you're going to be able to convince people to take it.
Yep.
So that's going to be the other thing too. But my hope is that by the time the playoffs start, that they'll be able to allow more fans into the arenas.
Right.
If they do, that's just 2 more teams or at least 2 more games that you'll get with additional teams to go ahead and get attendance dollars that way, along with your traditional playoff money. So that's a way to go ahead and make up for what you lost, make up a little bit from what you lost in the previous season and leading up to the playoffs in this year.
You know what? Like there's some reports that the Golden State Warriors are going to allow. They're going to start with a small percentage of fans, and I think the days of the courtside seats are over.
Oh yeah,
they're done. They're gonzo. Yeah. So your ass is going to be no lower. Like if you're in the lower bowl, you're going to be at least halfway up.
Yeah,
you're not going to be anywhere near the floor going forward. I think it's going to be that way going forward. To be honest with you, because the NBA, once they figure out a way to make money, I mean, they got smart people running the league. They're going to figure out a way to make more money, get more revenue. So, especially with the incidents with some fans in the past interacting with players in a dubious fashion, combine this with COVID now, I think that's going to be, I don't think we're going to see courtside seats anytime soon.
It's interesting that you bring that up.
Yeah.
Because if they do away with that, I think the second thing that they're going to end up doing away with that has become kind of in vogue in all sports.
Yeah.
Well, in 3 of the major 4. I don't know if hockey does it, but I know Major League Baseball has been doing it for some time now. I know the NFL has been doing it for the past couple of seasons, and the NBA has gone to do it, which is standing room only situations. So if they're getting rid of if they're potentially going to get rid of courtside seats, I think that's going to be another thing that they get rid of, because, of course, with the standing room only, you're not going to have a bunch of people, well, depending upon who's playing. But you're going to have people in close proximity to one another, and that's something they're probably going to want to end up getting away. Doing away with for some time.
Yeah, that's those days are gone.
Yeah,
it's just so gone. Well, it's interesting. I'm interested to see how this will work. I think it's going to be drive more excitement for the league. I think the league's come off of a great bubble. I mean, the thing that they're the only professional sports league that had the very minimal amounts of COVID incidents, right? And aside from oh boy bringing that chick to the room, he's trying to get us swervable. He had those camp eyes. I tell you, those camp eyes. If you hadn't seen any women for a long time, if you see any female, you're gonna again that 5 is gonna turn to a 9 or a 10. That's those camp eyes. I'm telling you. But anyway, so it's interesting how the NBA is going to handle that going forward. We're going to close out the show on this, man. We're going to talk some NFL. I'm not going to get too much of the games, you know, because it's one thing that I wanted to get to last week, but it happened a bit later last week. But this minority hiring with the NFL, I don't know if you probably seen this, where there's a proposal where the owners passed a resolution rewarding teams for developing minority coaches and executives, right? So what's going to happen is that teams are reading from the NFL.com website. Teams that lose a minority coach or executive to a head coach or a general manager job with another team will receive a third-round compensatory pick for 2 consecutive years. And if a team loses a minority coach and an executive to head coach and general manager jobs, that club will receive a third-round compensatory pick for 3 consecutive years. So basically, a team is eligible to receive draft pick compensation if the candidate in question has been, quote, employed by the employer club for a minimum of 2 years. And so basically, they're going to use this to drive up the hires of black coaches as well as female coaches. As Vice President of Football Operations, Troy Vincent, who's been really instrumental of doing this behind the scenes, have been doing. So I was watching the podcast I Am Athlete on YouTube. And for those of you who hadn't seen I Am Athlete, check it out. It's a great podcast. You don't know what you're missing. You need to check that shit out right now. Yesterday. Should have checked it out yesterday. But they were talking about that. The host, Brandon Marshall, along with Shannon Crowder, Chad Johnson, Fred Taylor, who tormented my Steelers for years. I haven't forgiven them for that with the Jacksonville Jaguars. And Terrell Owens was a special guest on there.
So Terrell Owens was on this one? Okay.
Yeah, he was on it. And they did a great job. But they were talking about other things. But I really love the conversation that they spent on this subject. It's a very sensitive subject. It's like it's like people derive it as affirmative action in the NFL. But people don't understand, like affirmative action in real life is not about the guarantee. It's the opportunity to give these brothers and women opportunities to like get in front of owners who don't look like them, who are now of the same gender. Because let's be real, man. People will hire who they're comfortable with. You're comfortable with your own. Yeah. That's just the bottom line. We don't have any black owners. We don't have any female owners. Well, we have one female. I think the Ford family, there's a Ford family. Is it? Or am I thinking about Chicago? I'm thinking about Chicago. I know Chicago has a female owner, but she's old. She's like in the 80s. Jeannie Buss with the Lakers, yeah. I'm talking about with the NFL, but Jeannie Buss is the
NFL, Ford family, yes.
Yeah, the Ford family, that's matriarch, and I think in Tennessee, I think, but the late Bud Adams' daughter, I think she runs the team. Okay, I think she's the owner now. So yeah, along with Virginia McCaskey, and I think if she's still alive, she should be running the Bears. I'll look it up later, but anyway, you have 2 to 3 female owners in the league. So if you have females want to get involved, that's fine, but they have to come up the pipeline, right? And the people who are doing the hiring besides the owners are the general managers. We're talking about coaching. So most of your general managers are white. Most of your owners are white men. And a lot of them are conservative, rich white men. So the thing is that if they don't, and this is the realest part about this, if you don't look like them, if you don't speak the language, so to speak, they're not going to be as comfortable with you, right or wrong. That's just the way it is. So at least this rule, as I don't want to say it as tokenism as it is, because you hope that these brothers are looked at on their merit. There are a lot of deserving black assistant head coaches that I mean, Eric Bieniemy, he's calling the plays now in Kansas City.
Yeah.
Right? Other people that came from Andy Reid's tree, like Doug Peterson, for example, with the Eagles. He was the offensive coordinator, but he didn't call plays. Andy Reid, until the last 2 years, called the plays. And I think he handed over the call playing duties to Eric Bieniemy to give him the experience, because he knows he deserves a shot as a head coach. And so with jobs opening up in the offseason, things are looking great for cats like Bieniemy, Brian Leftwich, and out of Tampa, he's the offensive coordinator. So those two guys, years ago, Pep Hamilton, I thought, was on that track before.
You know what?
They did him wrong in Indianapolis.
Yes, I asked that years ago, right? And unfortunately, and I think I may have said it on the show before, right? I questioned a couple of local guys that have local guys in the media that have experience covering the entire NFL about Pep Hamilton and his future as a head coach in the NFL. And at the time, of course, the excuse that was given to me was that he didn't have enough experience. Only for Jay Gruden to be hired by the Washington football team. Right. Who, in my opinion, had about the same amount of experience as one Pep Hamilton.
Exactly.
And
but the last name, Gruden, he got that last name.
Ding.
He got the last name.
He got the last name, and he got a different skin color. So, I don't want to blame it on the skin color, but he does have. But stop that. Rewind that. Okay. I don't want to blame it on the skin color, but it's easy to. And also, he has that last name, which we can also attribute to that, because that's one of the things that was discussed was which Gruden brother was going to come here to be the head coach here. And of course, we got the lesser of the two to come. Right. But because both of the Grudens have a relationship with one Bruce Allen. So once again, it goes back to who you're familiar with. And I talked about this as it pertains to coaching, as it pertains to who you bring into your front office. It also goes down to the players that they sign. You know, I talked about that, about the lack of FCS players who were drafted in this past year's draft, which is probably going to be the same case as it pertains to the 2021 draft, because unfortunately the FCS guys have to play in the spring. Right. So that number's going to go down drastically again. So, the thing is, yes, they need to get an opportunity. They need to get in front of people. They need to go ahead and talk to them. But one meeting is not enough. It helps, but it's not enough, because they're still going to go ahead and revert back to what's comfortable, unless it's going to be someone who's going to be willing and daring to take a chance on someone that wows them. If memory serves me correctly, Mike Tomlin was one of those wow guys. He went to Pittsburgh. Yes. And that's why he got hired. Yes. Who else? God, what is his name? Used to coach with the Colts. African American coach that used to be in. Tony Dungy was another wow guy when he got hired in Tampa. So it's just one of those situations where, yes, it's great to do it, but it needs to happen more often. And I really am not a fan of necessarily giving compensation to teams for them to do something that they should be doing anyway, because it kind of cheapens it. And it seems as like teams are going to potentially be doing it just so they can get compensation, or getting themselves into a situation so they can get compensation. And I really don't want to see that, because as good as an idea as the Rooney Rule was, it's been bastardized over the past couple of seasons, and it's really not working the way that it should be. But to your point,
they tokenized it.
They have tokenized
it. They tokenized the hell out of it.
And I hate to see it happen. I really hate to see it happen. And to answer your question, the female owners in the NFL are Virginia Hallis McCasey for Chicago.
Right.
Like you said. This one, I'm a little ashamed you didn't know.
Uh-oh.
Patricia Rooney for Pittsburgh.
Oh, well, I thought it was I guess what's his name? What's the name of the Rooney? Not Al, but not Dan, but Art Rooney II. Art Rooney II he's the figure. He's a visual guy. He's the guy you see. But the Rooney family, yes.
Yeah, they own it, yeah.
The Rooney family, yes. I think Art Rooney II, he's a figurehead. He's not the figurehead, but he's a guy who's out front and center.
Out in front and center, yeah.
He's a guy everyone knows. He's a guy everyone knows.
Gotcha. So anyway, so that's why I that makes a little bit more sense than if it's a family-run situation. Okay. Yeah. Other two, Norma Hunt in Kansas City.
Yes.
And of course, like you said, Martha Ford for the Detroit Lions.
Yes. So there you go.
Yeah. So
at least women got it.
God, man, I just wish it was a different way. And I applaud Troy Vincent for continuing to do things to make the league.
He's doing a damn good job behind the scenes. You got.
Yes, he is, especially as it pertains to making sure that those that don't necessarily get an opportunity as much as they should get more of an opportunity. If you look at the HBCU Combine that he's spearheaded to this initiative that's going on here.
Yes.
He's doing whatever he can to make sure that those that normally won't get an opportunity get pushed out to the forefront so they can be seen and so they can get a chance. And I'm loving it. The thing is, like I said before, I just hope that people don't cheapen it just in order to get rewards.
Yeah. You got to, I mean, God, this is so tough. This is so damn tough. You don't, if you're guys like the enemy, you don't want to be seen as a charity case. You want to be judging on merit, and you should. And you should, of course. I mean, any individual, man, woman, whoever. Yes, but this is just ridiculous to have the enemy. First of all, lose out to not getting hired, getting passed over for a judge, for Joe Judge.
Yeah.
Who the fuck is when the Giants hired him? It was like my first words in my mouth were, "Who the fuck is Joe Judge? Who the fuck is this dude?" And look, I knew granted, special teams coordinator with the Patriots. He's attached. He's attached to who? Bill Belichick. Another networky guy. Another one to get you in the door. And he's having the Giants are playing better. I'll give him that.
Yeah.
But still, come on. I mean, it's just so tough. I got a story about Mike Tomlin right quick when you mentioned his name. He was interviewed. He also interviewed with the Dolphins, and and the Dolphins said that he was too hip hop. Those were the words of critiquing one Mike Tomlin. They called him too hip hop. True story. And they ended up going with guess who? The immortal Jeff. I think his name was Jeff Philbin.
Jeff Philbin, yes.
Yes, and we know how that turned out.
Yeah, we do know how
Meanwhile,
turned out, yes.
Meanwhile, Tomlin has – I bet on – you know how much I bet on Tomlin when his teams play to the competitions level, right?
Yes.
That frustrates the hell out of me. He did it against Dallas this year. I was like, you can't lose a fucking Dallas. I know too many Cowboys, but I wouldn't hear the end of it. But anyway, But the point is that Tomlin, 14 years in, has yet to have a losing season.
No.
He has yet to have a losing season.
And they were on the bench last year, and he was capable of turning that team around and keeping them from doing so. So, yeah, that speaks volumes, especially for a team that did not have a competent NFL quarterback for the last half.
We were 8-5. Keep in mind this. A team led by Mason Rudolph and some dude named Duck. We were 8-5 at one point. We were 8-5 before reality caught up to us. We lost the last 3 games and fall to 8-8. But still, we were 8-5 at one point last year with 2 incompetent quarterbacks. Yeah. That should tell you something about Mike Tomlin. Mike effing Tomlin. Man child.
Wait a minute. Matter of fact, I want to go ahead and say it wasn't Philbin. I want to say it was Nick Saban that was the hire.
Was that long? Was that
Because
that long
when
ago?
was
2006
Mike Tomlin?
or something like that.
2006.
2006 season.
Yeah, that would be Nick Saban.
2007. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, my bad. My bad. But we still know how that turned out. Nick Saban left in the middle of the night to coach Alabama.
Yeah, that was yeah, he was 2 and done.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, the Dolphins have gone through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They're on their 8th head coach since.
Wow.
All because your boy was through hip hop.
Wow.
Yeah.
But at least it took him 14 plus years. Not 14 plus years, but at least they got it right. Appears they got it right with Brian Flores.
It's looking that way.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that it well, for coach's sake, coaches is really riding high on the fact that they're on this 5-game win streak.
Yeah.
And my God, if they win this 6th this week coming, and I think they have the Denver Broncos this week coming up.
That's a win.
It should be a win for them.
That's a win.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see how Coach lives this up, because it's looking like, if the Bills could potentially lose a couple of games here and there, that it might be the Dolphins' division to take. I mean, the Dolphins are already in the playoff hunt right now. Matter of fact, I think they're currently the 6th seed going into the playoffs. So if that is the case, if they can continue to do that and continue to play this way, especially under Tua Tagovailoa, it'll be very, very interesting to see how this team goes on, not just for the rest of the 2020 season, but to see how this team develops. But Flores is one of those Belichick guys. Yeah. And we've seen
it actually will work out.
Yeah. I was just about to say that. We've seen in other situations, where being a Belichick guy has not worked out.
Right.
Matt Patricia, what's your boy's name?
Charlie Weiss failed tremendously.
Weiss has failed.
Yeah.
Roman has failed.
Yeah.
God, who?
And as much as I like this guy, even though he had a couple of good seasons, Eric Mangini.
Mangini has failed.
I like him a lot too. But
He's supposed
I like
to be
him
the
on
man
TV.
Genius, right? Remember that? He was supposed to be the man genius.
Exactly.
The old coordinator that's in New England now has failed.
Yeah.
So
Josh McDaniels failed.
Josh McDaniels. So it's not about
Romeo Cornell failed.
Romeo Cornell. Yeah, I keep calling him Roman. It's Romeo.
Yeah.
So it's not about getting the guys that's on the tree. In some cases, sometimes you just got to go ahead and get the tree instead of trying to take the fruit, because sometimes the fruit rotten. I'm just saying.
Well said. Hey, man, believe it or not, this went off without a hitch. This video went off without a hitch. You got to do it. I don't know why I didn't think of this shit a long time ago, but hey, it's been fun. So knock on wood.
Hey.
Nothing else bad will happen while we're on video.
Hey. I'm not going to say anything bad happens. I'll say this, though. We'll be a lot more expressive during the video.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to lead to more interesting shows. I guarantee it.
All right, man. Hey, man, thanks a lot, man. We'll do this again soon.
Most definitely. And I'll say this. It's great seeing you, Scott, because I rarely get a chance to see
I know.
So it's wonderful seeing you, brother.
You got it. Same here, man. Check it out. All right, y'all, please check out this brother's sports blog, Yard/HBCU Sports, the rest about all things HBCU Sports, as well as Sleazy Radio every Tuesday night on Facebook Live with the crew. Yeah. It's very entertaining. And also check out his work, please, on herosports.com. We write about FCS sports, as well as especially football, as it pertains to HBCUs. And as for the show itself, we're about to be on YouTube. I'll put the YouTube channel link in the description later on. Also, please check us out on iTunes, subscribe there. And also, don't forget about the merch. Hey, the merch. Go to cafesports.com/the Klown Times. Klown spelled with a K, all one word, no spaces, no hyphens, no underscores. So until next time, and also one last thing, guys. Stay your ass at home. If you guys have to go out, wear a damn mask.
Wear a mask.
Wear a mask, please, so I get to travel again, do shit. I may not get to Thanksgiving because you guys. So please stay at home, wear a damn mask, get tested, wash your hands, and be safe. Until next time, till next week, peace.
Peace.
All right.